Work. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel. Tonight, we are talking about the bane of football, the subject that has caused so much ructions over the weekend. The thing that is destroying football, in my opinion, at the minute, and that is good old VAR. There's been a few instances over the weekend that have really been very questionable, but tonight we're going to sort of break it down. We're going to have a look at it and see where can it be improved? Why is it failing so much? Just there's got to be something be done. I know Newcastle, etc., put complaints in, but listen, we can't get the points back now. That's a certainty. That's not going to happen. We've lost points. We've lost so many points this season, actually. It's one of them things. It's a pain in the arse. No Newcastle news today. Very, very quiet. Possible return of Maxi and Bruno next week, but we're not sure about that yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So we'll begin with some of the comments as we normally do. Sophia, welcome to Members Club. Thank you for becoming a member of the Toon Review, and thank you for your support. Evening, Mark. Michael's in. Adrian, good evening. Jimmy Jones, thank you for your £4.49. Jimmy the Hammer. Two of the biggest threats to the Sky top six get shafted. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you like. We'll get into that. Jody Howeman says, I always thought our game was beyond corrupt, Jimmy. Not now. Evening, George. Hope you're well. Yeah, you've caught the start for once. That's well done to you. Tom says, VAR thoughts. Make the refs and VAR officials. All angles shown automatically. Each team 2 reviews per game, 1 per half. Offsides, daylight. Whole player has to be clearly offside, not a boot or a finger. Gary, good evening. Please keep comments respectful. No all caps or duplicate comments. And don't forget to hit that like button. Indeed, please do hit that like button if you enjoy the show. And, of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Samsonite, good evening. Up the A1 says, evening, everyone. This will be an interesting discussion tonight, especially when decisions have been proved incorrect and teams have been robbed. Robbed being the appropriate word. Sean says, good evening, everyone. I did not know you had 2 shows on tonight. One with John being the host. Lol. VAR should be stopped now and investigate. There is a betting scandal going on. Roy was moonlighting on John's channel earlier on. The King of Qatar. Carl says, does this sound mad? Please don't leave and form a Super League, and we will make sure you finish top 6. Don't worry about Newcastle or West Ham. We'll sort that out. Interesting. Dominic says, agree with Tom and also need to be stricter on diving. Jimmy says, I'm definitely smelling a rat. How can you fuck up after watching a replay? Stu, good evening. Samsonite says, VAR opinion. VAR room given 20 to 30 seconds maximum on an incident. If it can't make its conclusion in that time, it's by definition not a clear and obvious error. That's an interesting one, actually. Clear and obvious shouldn't take 5 minutes to discuss. Norvik, good evening. Lewis, good evening. Geordie Metal. Devonshire Magpie says, I have a thought. Why not give each manager a set amount of VAR calls, say like one a game, and the ref gets a set amount? He cannot be called over by a third-party ref. Geordie Howeman says, football is my life and my passion. The game is now unrecognizable to the one I fell in love with this week. Has sickened me to the core, even and all, by the way. And that's a worrying point, isn't it, Alex? Because I've seen a lot of fans really just simply had enough now. And it's spoiling their occasion, the day when they go out for a day out. They like going to football and watching the football. And everybody's coming away just, it's not the same anymore. It's spoiling everything.
I don't know. I'm very concerned about this because obviously I don't live in the Northeast. I live in the Midlands, and 90% of people around here support Big Six teams. All of them support Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and so on and so forth. And speaking to them over the last few days, a lot of them aren't particularly, they're not as bothered as we are by this. There isn't the outrage there. They see it. Obviously, they're aware it's happening. But, they do have larger fan bases because of the success and the reach and the revenue. And it's concerning. We really can't let this get swept under the rug. It's been quite eye-opening, the fact it's happened to. I think it's quite fortunate this has happened to 3 or 4 teams all at the same time, because if this had just been us, I don't think this would have been addressed. But it's the fact that it's happened to multiple teams at the same time, and be offended if you want, West Ham fans, but in my opinion, it's the fact that a London club's been affected by this, that it's got more traction. I think it helps. And I'm concerned. I don't think we can't keep quiet anymore. We've got to, as a fan base, online, social media, we've got to keep our foot on the pulse, or whatever the phrase is, the acronym. We've got to just keep going, and make sure it hurts their brand, because the Premier League have been posting stuff online on different platforms in the last couple of days, and the fans are just hijacking all the posts, just saying, sort your officiating out. So we need to keep it going as fans. We need to keep on their backs. We can't let this just next month. This is just washed off and forgotten. This has got to be the start of a change. I understand that the refereeing is changing soon anyway, and we'll get to that. But as fans, everybody watching, if you're active on social media, we've got to keep doing our bit. Otherwise, this will just wash over, and they'll just pretend it never happened, and then we'll have another controversy in 2-3 months' time. It needs changing.
Well, the good news, Billy, is that the referee for Sunday is Craig Pawson, who was simply dreadful, and VAR is Paul Tierney.
So Liam Mason's been taken off duty for this weekend.
Has, yeah. He's been missed out completely for duties this weekend. Lewis says, evening, Paul, Alex, and Billy. Looking forward to a very good show.
Can I just mention about Paul Tierney if we go any further?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Paul Tierney was the video referee yesterday for the old game at Old Trafford, and he admitted that he called the referee to the screen because he was worried about the previous day's chaos, basically.
Paul Tierney was the referee, Billy.
Yeah, he was the referee.
He wasn't VAR.
That's right. He was called there. That's right, yeah.
He was called there, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is madness, really. I mean, it just goes to show that they're scared as well.
Yeah.
Jeanette Johnson, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Hi, Paul, Billy, Alex. Alliance done the last few games as curse. I swear it's taken all the fun out of my favourite game. It's gut-wrenching. Yeah, it is. Roy, good evening to you and the missus. Hope you're well. Evening, chaps. What is going on with VAR? Does anyone actually know what a clear and obvious error is? Well, it should be quite clear and obvious, but apparently to the officials, it's not. Spike says VR is not the problem; it's the officials. Evening, Jordan. Evening, Matt. Andrew says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope all is well. We are very much, thank you." Ab says Vieira and Tuchel brought the game into disrepute, in my opinion. Their dishonesty does not help improve things. It's a good point, Billy, isn't it? I mean, if they're coming out, they could have just said they didn't see it, or they're not going to comment on it. But they made a fool of themselves, didn't they?
They did, and even more so now. The Premier League and the PGMOL have come out and said mistakes were made.
Yeah,
they don't know the silly ones are the only two people that saw those games that actually think that no offence was committed, by and large. Yeah. So yes, they do look stupid, and rightly so. More fool them.
Francisco says, "Good evening from a very rainy Puerto Rico." Oh, Alex, do you want to say that? Do you want to say that just for our
Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. There you go. Expecting a great show as always. Thanks, Francisco. And I have got your email, mate. I will reply to you very soon, bud.
I do have a funny stat as well for if we're on the Latin vibe. We can stay on that for a second. Did you remember the Neves interview where he was saying we just play long ball? We've just had Who Scored tweet out that Neves has got the most long balls this season, more than goalkeepers.
I just saw that about 5 minutes before I came on.
How ironic.
I had to have a giggle at that. Isn't it ironic? Steve says, why not get the points back? They can take points off. Surely they can give them back. Nah, not for that. It just wouldn't work like that. Danielle's in the house, which is just popping in. Got an early start tomorrow, and we hope everything goes okay, Danielle, tomorrow. Sending all our love. Rich says, good evening, guys. It's good to catch a live show. If Talk Shite are talking about it and Agbonlahor agrees with us, then something is up. Yeah, he does actually, which makes a nice change. We're all well, Stu. Hope you are. Toon Dave says VAR had so many good intentions, but in the end, it's a technology that's been badly implemented, and some spineless refs going back on decisions. Fecking joke. Paul says, good evening, Paul, Billy, Alex. This VAR subject will carry on if there's not better people at the top, and it's not just Newcastle either. That is changing, though, isn't it, Alex? Because Howard Webb's taken over from little old Mike Riley at the end. At Christmas time.
Yeah, so I've pulled up the Athletic article specifically about this. So he's going to retire. So it's going to be. So Riley's role is set to be split after his departure, with the PGMOL aiming to appoint a chief refereeing officer in charge of developing match officials and a chief operating officer who will manage the organisation. So it's going to be split into two separate new roles going forward. And it's nice to hear that one of those roles is the development of officials, because we do seem to have a funny bottleneck at the top end of it where, I mean, I don't want to be ageist here, but a lot of the referees are older. A lot of them seem to be in their 50s. And there's no reason why. I understand you need to have had a good amount of experience to be a referee at that level. That's fair enough. But there have got to be referees with somewhere between 10 and 20 years experience who can be qualified enough, who aren't mid 50s. There's got to be people floating around there, because they don't have this problem in Europe with officiating in sort of Serie A and La Liga and Liga. And so, but yeah, two roles it's being split into.
Yeah. We've got Jamie Gill, who's another hammer. Evening, Paul, Billy and Alex. I saw the Newcastle one. I was shocked. Graham Souness said the West Ham disallowed goal was correct, and Hislop said Bowen did injure Mendy. I was fuming. Look, Graham Souness, he talks out his arse. Quite frankly, he's listen. To say that was a foul is just mental. It wasn't a foul. Bowen jumped over the top of him. In fact, we've got a still of it. Just let me find it. Where are we? I thought I did upload. Yes, I did. He's jumping over him. And there isn't any attempt to injure him at all. There isn't any attempt to foul him. And I think a lot was said, Billy, was the fact that the Chelsea players didn't even protest when Cornet put the ball in the net.
Indeed. But the one Chelsea player that did influence the whole thing was Mr. Mendy, who stayed on the floor pretending to be injured when he wasn't.
Yeah, by the way, big shout out to Mendy. We hope you're okay, and we hope you've got over your injury. It was terrible to see you writhing around the floor like that. I really hope you're all right. Devonshire Magpie, thank you for becoming part of the members club. Welcome to the Toon Review family, my friend. Thank you for your support. Someone pointed out we have so far this season lost 9 points, which means we will be top of the league. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, though, that is quite a thing, that we'd be top of the league. It's bizarre.
Yeah, one of these days is going to cost us a team. Well, it has already cost a team. Bournemouth, where it wasn't VAR, but it was goal on technology turned on. But one of these days, someone at the end of the season is going to add up the points lost by VAR, and it's going to cost the team its Premier League status. And when that happens, I think there might be a bit of a legal case going through.
Yeah, I think a lot needs to be changed. Rich says it's so sad as we have so much to be excited about and it's been taken away from us. I couldn't wait for this season and it seems very dark now. Chris says VAR stands for Video Arranged Result. Good evening, Paul, Billy and Alex. You fabulous bunch of gentlemen. Hope you're all well and good on this gorgeous Monday night from Belfast. With much love. That Aston Villa call was absolutely ridiculous. Newcastle, Villa and West Ham are all teams threatening the Big Six. I thought the corrupt talk was false, but it's been happening too much. I wouldn't say Villa are threatening at the minute.
It's not just the VAR refs. It's not just the refs on the pitch. It's assistant referees as well. They're getting involved in it. As I said last night, the Miguel Almiron goal against Man City, the line actually flagged for an offside there. Why?
Yeah.
If the referee had seen that and blown before it went in, I know it's like short notice, but had he done that, that would have been another goal we had chalked off.
Yeah, exactly. Jack, good evening to you. Seen a stat of all the VAR decisions went in our favour, which they should have. We'll be top of the table. Conspiracy. Did you guys see the report on Sky Sports on YouTube about the disallowed goal with Newcastle? Basically, the guy said, if anything, it should have been a pen.
Yeah, he was an ex-referee. I disagree with him.
Dermot Gallagher.
It was Dermot Gallagher said that he wouldn't have given the goal, he would have given a penalty. Which beggars belief, because how the ball went in the net, so you're taking a goal off us to give us another opportunity to score a goal from the penalty. Ridiculous. Can't wait for Sunday, the robbed from VAR derby. Yeah. Be interesting to see which way decisions go.
Well, London obviously is why I'm nervous about the weekend.
Yeah. We were used to the one-sided bullshit and thought it was over with the positivity, enjoy the takeover and signings. Or how wrong I was. Glory supporting places down south, to be honest. Plus, there are so many rugby fans further south. Football just isn't the same as it is in the northeast and northwest. James says, after watching all VAR decisions in the Premiership this season, I am in no doubt there is match fixing going on, and their explanation on some of their decisions is frankly laughable. Full investigation needed, says James. Matthew says, hi guys, what are your opinions on bringing in ex-pros to help with VAR? Surely it wouldn't work because there is so much bias in football. Billy, you mentioned this last night.
Yeah, it would be hard to kind of guarantee any kind of neutrality. Not only players that used to play for clubs, but the ramifications of decisions they give against clubs that they used to play for instance. For instance, if Arsenal were playing, let's say Liverpool, if they win the league, if they win, they win the league. If they don't, Man United win it, and they put someone like Roy Keane in charge of it. Yeah, whose side is going to be on?
I agree with you, Billy. I agree with the thing you said yesterday about bringing these ex-referees back. You know, the ones that have retired. Bring them back to do it instead of the actual, the younger ones, put them on the pitch. But, because this, I mean...
Not the last batch of refs that have just retired either, because they're obviously as bad as...
Absolutely, yeah.
We need to get the people that were refereeing in the 90s, if they're obviously still, or the 80s, if they're still with us, and get them coaching the referees on the pitch also. Let's get them involved, not just from VAR, but actually teaching the referees on how to referee a game. It's not just about the VAR part of it. It's use them guys' experience. We've had some great referees in the past. We have some real good referees. George Courtney and people like that. Pat Partridge, I know they're no longer with us, but there's some excellent referees in this country, and it's just a shame that now we haven't got any apart from maybe Mike Oliver.
They're not being used in international tournaments either. I mean, the example of the fact that we had no representation by officials in the Euros. And then the World Cup previous to that, I think
we did. Anthony Taylor was there when Christian.
Was that them? Well, I think it was the situation of the only officials we sent were the first bunch to get into some sort of controversial situations. It's just you couldn't make it up. And we since sort of the Howard Webb days, it's really Clattenburg and things like that. It's really gone downhill, and our representation. In European competitions and at international level has just gone down the pan because obviously they just don't trust our officials, and nor do we at this point.
Yeah, I mean, people criticise Graham Poll for that game where we give that player 3 yellow cards before we sent him off. But on the whole, apart from that, he was a pretty good ref. Let's get him involved. David Ellery was a good referee. We've had some really good ones in this country, but now, as I say, Mike Oliver.
Clattenburg was a good one for me as well. Clattenburg was a good referee, without a doubt.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent referee.
Turning our attention to Newcastle. I mean, obviously, we've been robbed many times this season. The one at Brighton, this one wasn't so much VAR. This was the referee blowing the whistle. Now, as you can see, Wilson's boot is absolutely nowhere near the Brighton defenders. Just a shocking decision again. Of course, Callum put the ball in the back of the net and it was ruled out because the referee had already blown his whistle. There was this one. Now, how that was not a penalty, I will never know. I mean, crunching into the back of him, Fabian Schär couldn't even jump for the ball. So, Alex, how is that not a penalty in your eyes? Or is it a penalty?
Well, the interesting thing about that specific incident is that the replay showed Stones walking away quite concerned from the challenge because he thought he'd conceded a penalty. Stones himself thought he was in trouble at that point, which if that doesn't highlight just how obvious it was, I don't know what else does.
But just look at the referee in that position. They've got the perfect position to see
Well,
that.
he's looking straight at it, isn't he? There's absolutely no excuse there. There's literally no excuse. This one.
Yeah, well, this is down to the persistent pull definition, isn't it? Which is outrageous. That they can't be they can't be trying to explain and justify calls of that magnitude with such unmeasurable subjective criteria. It's just not on. Not within a game with millions of people watching and millions of dollars, pounds, euros on the line. Like, this is people's livelihood. There are thousands of people in the English pyramid. We can't be getting it this wrong this consistently.
Yeah.
Right. We need to be able to define what level of a shirt pull is a foul and not a foul. It shouldn't be this difficult for them to decide at the top level. This is their job.
Well, we've heard it many times, Alex, that, the Premier League is the best league in the world with the worst officials. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, they get paid enough for it.
The point of that is, unless he's wearing my shirt, that shirt is a good 10 inches away from his body. So how long does it take him to put it that far? That's persistent shirt putting, in my opinion. Just look at his shirt.
The thing is, it doesn't matter whether it's persistent or not in my eyes, because he's in the box, he's looking to shoot, and he can't because he's put off because of the huge pull on his shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre. Then we had this one, which was a Tranmere, of course. The disgusting tackle, and again, that's poor refereeing, nothing to do with VAR. But we're talking about officiating and VAR here. That could have broke his leg, Alex, straight away.
Yeah, well, there should have been a couple of red cards in that game. That was atrocious. The referee, I mean, that was not Premier League level refereeing anyway. Not the Premier League level is something to, it's not a benchmark. But he was. I was in the away end for the Tranmere game, and I was pointing out to people around me how far away the referee was from the action. He looked unfit. He wasn't in the right places, and it was one of the worst refereeing performances I've seen. Not from just decision making. He was never in the right place. It was really, really poor. So I can't remember who it was. I tried to forget about it, but that was atrocious. Yeah, that tackle is a leg breaker. It's even without VAR, that should be pretty clear with studs up. The linesman should have a view on it as well. Get support if you're not sure. And the fact that Darlow required a bit of treatment for it,
disgusting. Then, of course, the Liverpool one, Isak offside. I mean, explain to me in a million years how that is offside.
Well, it's just not. There's nothing to talk about, is there? It's just not offside.
It's bullshit, isn't it? I mean, it literally is bullshit, because the red line supposed to be the Liverpool player, and the black line supposed to be Newcastle.
Well, the rule is supposed to be benefit of the doubt with the attacker. So if it's that difficult to determine, then it's onside.
I don't know how they've ruled that offside. Never ever will understand. And then, of course, Sunday, this one. So we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different instances there. Not all to do with VAR, of course, but 6 different instances where there's been an absolute mockery. Keith Dice, thanks for your $10 super chat over in the States. He says, in the US, managers in most sports, professional and college, have some level of recourse for controversial calls. Challenges and such should be made that way for the EFL. Evens things out. Yeah, I mean, in ice hockey over in the States, they get an opportunity to have a review, and if the review goes against them and it's not the right call, then that certainly with goals and sticks.
This is a cultural issue to a degree as well. This is a cultural issue. We are a very old country. We've got sports that have been around for hundreds of years. We've got certain historical norms and cultures, and we've got a lot of dinosaurs still in these sporting organizations. You've only got to look at golf and things of that nature. In a lot of other countries, there's a lot of sports that are considerably newer than we are. They've had a blank slate, and things have been done a bit differently. But here, we quoted the situation recently about Ryan Reynolds with Wrexham, about about arguing with the National League, not being able to. Sorry, not National League. I think it's they're in the league. Are they in League Two? I think they're in League Two, possibly. About not being able to do sort of abroad streams, and they're just a board of dinosaurs, just not allowing the game to progress. And it's a cultural issue. Like we've got a bunch of dinosaurs stuck at the top of the level. And again, I apologize for being ageist again, but it's people who are considerably older who are benefiting financially from it and they don't want their world and the game to change. And this is not just this is in multiple sports as well. This is a problem within Britain in a lot of sports. This doesn't happen in a lot of other places. It's a lot different. This old culture has got to change. We've got to modernize.
Middlesbrough scored, Billy?
They have indeed, yeah. 1-0 to Middlesbrough. Good goal as well.
Good. Sophia says, hi guys, new member here. Thought I'd see the channel that was keeping my partner quiet at night. I do apologize. We need to do what we did with the Nick Pope in Twitter and just be Premiership is corrupt. Get that going. Well, that's been done many, many times. It seems VAR is making so many clear and obvious errors now. Refs should be fined for clear errors. Sorry, we made a mistake. Let's forget about it now till we do you again. Then we'll apologize again. What a joke. Carlos says, I don't think I'll be watching football for a while. Jamie, another hammer, says, I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday, hoping the refs and VAR don't spoil the game. Well, listen, it should be a very, very good game against West Ham on Sunday because two very, very good teams who like to attack and play football the right way. So I'm hoping that it isn't spoiled by the referees. But we shouldn't even be talking about this. We should be excited about the game rather than saying, oh God, I hope the referee doesn't ruin it. I mean, what's football come to now when we're starting to talk that way? Ridiculous. Paul says VAR needs two changes, in my opinion. One, a minimum of 2 camera angles required on the replay, and 2, minimum of 2 to 3 officials operating VAR. One official on VAR is always likely to make mistakes as one ref on the pitch.
Yeah, it's about who it is at the moment.
Yes,
it's not about how many. Lee Mason specifically was the problem. I think the referee had a poor game at Palace, but that disallowed goal was primarily down to Lee Mason leaning on that decision, showing him the wrong angle, and really pushing for that. So it wouldn't have mattered if the agenda's there. The agenda's there. You one poor ref in the VAR box or 3 poor refs in the VAR box. It's not going to change the decision. We need fresh crop to come through. They need retraining, and we need a restructure.
We need some hatching out of eggs, Alex. That's what we need. Some referees hatched out of eggs.
We'll get to Howard Webb's eggs in a minute.
The Premier League do not do themselves any favours. I mean, I'm going back to that game yesterday again, but Tierney, who's refereed it, is from Greater Manchester, and so is Lee Mason. He's from Bolton, I believe, on the VAR. And they keep sending Anthony Taylor to manage Man United, ref Man United or Man City. They're opening themselves up to a massive kind of, conspiracy thing here by having refs from the same city refereeing teams from that town or city.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ridiculous. They open themselves up to criticism, so I don't know.
The Clone Lad says, hire rugby referees to oversee VAR.
Well, someone like Nigel Owens would be fantastic at it.
Yeah, well, they can't get it wrong. I mean, it's not difficult, is it? I mean, any Tom, Dick, or Harry could go into VAR and say, that's offside. But that's not simple. It's bloody hell.
We don't have this hoo-ha in rugby. I watch a lot of rugby, and when they go and check a decision, we don't have everybody whinging about it. It's actually quite dramatic. You celebrate the try, and then you're like, "Oh, was there this? Was there that?" It's not that much of a problem. People just get on with it because the decisions are generally right. So there is less frustration about it. I think we wouldn't care as much if the decisions were right most of the time. It's just they're not.
Well, they do make errors in rugby too, but in rugby it's different.
Nowhere near.
It's nowhere near. But of course, the difference between rugby and football is the referees actually respect the referee. The players respect the referee on the pitch.
Absolutely. Stiff Gator says Howard Webb was Alex Ferguson's best ever assistant. I was told even Richard Keys was on our side over this. It must be bad if he was on our war side. Yes. Jimmy Jones says Howard Webb, Man United to win the Premier League then. Mike Manu Riley, glad to become a member. Spend a lot of time with you live and watching reviews. Thanks, guys. Devon Toon fan. Thank you very much, buddy. Wacky Angler says you watch what happens this weekend when you play my boys. Both our teams got shafted by VAR last weekend. so there will be any VAR decisions or this weekend at all. I gather it means there'll be none. It'd be interesting. How can you watch a replay from multiple angles and still get it wrong? Ex-players should be VAR officials. It will be interesting to hear from fans of lower league clubs who don't have VAR. Would they want it? That's a very good question, given the shit. Live Rise Entertainment, thank you Thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Members Club. Thank you for your support of the channel. Really appreciate that. Now, Alex, I know you got some Howard Webb stuff, which we'll be bringing up shortly. But what I've done is I've also want to talk about the Merseyside derby as well, because this isn't just about Newcastle United. And everybody knows my absolute love for Everton Football Club. But I'm actually going to stick up for them here. They should have won that game on Saturday. And Liverpool should have had 10 men, in my opinion. Billy, I know you've got different feelings on this. This is the offside. Now, I'm sorry, but bullshit, right? Conor Cody is not offside there, right? You cannot give that offside, Alex.
I mean, that's a tough one from that angle, but
it's not clear. It's not a clear and obvious offside.
No, I agree.
Alex.
I can't tell if it's on or off, which by definition means it's on.
Should go to the goal scorer.
Yeah, because if you're not sure, if it's so tight that you're not sure, it's onside. So yeah, I would agree with that.
They cannot say that is a clear and obvious error there to award the goal. They just can't.
I'd also like to highlight how awful Liverpool's positionally are there and how awful that is defensively.
I thought you may pick up on that,
because they were so dire against us as well. They look awful, and they are being what they're in 7th place right now. They are fortunate to be in 7th place. They're going
to be nowhere near the title challenge this season.
Oh, no way
absolutely
near.
Not.
Nowhere near.
But a lot of people said when that ball came across, it actually deflected off Milner's studs, which cancels out an offside as well. So, you know what it is? I just, it beggars belief. And then there was this one. And we've got different angles on this. I mean, that's a red card for me. That is a red card for me. And I know, Billy, you disagree. Alex, I think you agree that it's a red card. Fabian Scher, for me, was a red card against Wolves as well. Just because I support Newcastle, I'm not going to have any bias here. I think they are both red cards.
No, I think Scher's is a yellow, because I think the speed at which that happened with the so for people that don't remember that tackle, it was, I think the ball came pinging back so quickly, and it was far more difficult to assess whether it was malicious or dangerous and how much intent was in it, because it was so speedy. It looked like he was just going for the ball, whereas this was not played at that pace. The slower it is, the more I feel like you can suggest there was a bit of intention in there. I mean, you can just see where Van Dijk's head is, where his eyes are. And this wasn't at the same speed as the other tackle.
Shin.
I think that's a red card all day long. If we don't want those to be red cards, fine. But I feel like the rules as they stand today, in this day and age, and to be consistent with other red cards that have been given over the last few seasons, I feel like that's got to be a red card.
Yeah. I've changed my opinion on this overnight. I've changed my opinion because I went to work today, and there are quite a few Liverpool supporters where I work, and one of them actually said, and he actually said this, you're not going to believe it. Well, you got to remember that Jordan Pickford did Vincent van Dijk, Virgil van Dijk in the Merseyside derby a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and that kind of excused him doing that. Absolutely not. Red card. Fuck him off.
Yeah, I mean,
I've changed my opinion. And obviously, when you see stills like that, it looks far worse than what it was. But it's his head position for me, where he was looking. Yeah, I think that's a red card.
But what do you think? What are VAR looking at when they look at an incident like that? Because they're going to get them angles.
They're looking behind them, presumably, because they're not looking at what we're looking at. They can't be.
They're looking at who's playing, basically. If that had been the other way around, say if that had been Tarkowski on Firmino, red card all day long.
Paul says Bowen 100% made some contact, which gives Mendy the opportunity to fake injury. He should have jumped clearly to avoid the doubt. Well, yeah, but at that sort of speed, you cannot avoid him completely.
It's the merest brush. It's the merest brush. It didn't
It's
deserve.
just brushed off his shoulder, and he's gone rolling around as if he's been shot.
If you're clever enough to ascertain that, then surely trained referees with over 20 years' experience are more than capable of figuring that out for themselves.
You would expect that, yeah. Can't give Shearer the job. Just think penalty. Premier League corrupt as Fus, indeed. What happens if we miss a European place by 1 or 2 points? Well, we get mad again. Wish the Big Six had left the Premier League when they were threatening to join the Super League. Somebody actually sent me a message earlier on, which was, I had to laugh because it was a message saying, you know what, the Saudis should start a new Premier League like they've done in golf and just ignore the Big Six and take the rest of the 14 over and a few of the EFL clubs and start their own league and see how the Big Six like it playing the same teams over, in a league of just 6 teams. Would stick it up to them. Us Newcastle fans can't catch a break. Injuries and VAR as soon as we become class. Julie J said, I've said the same thing. Beat says, it's not coincidence that us and West Ham are being obstructed on our journeys, especially towards the promised land of the so-called top 6. AJ says, I wish we could return to the days when people would be outraged over situations such as this. Many just shrug their shoulders and don't seem to care. I mean, I think you're pointing out about, Eddie Howe and why he didn't go mental as well. I mean, he's not that kind of character, Bill.
No, he's not. And as I said yesterday, there's no advantage in him doing it because what happens is the referees are a bit of a closed shop. They'll have a chat. Eddie Howe's having to go at us again. Yeah. There'll be no favourable decisions go away, which is ridiculous in itself.
Yeah. If he came out and said anything, Billy, he'd get a fine, wouldn't he?
Indeed, he would. And it happens all the way down to, down to the grassroots football, Sunday League football even. You start moaning about referees and supposed bad referees, you get black marks against you at local level. So this is something you don't do is go against referees, no matter how crap they are.
Sophia says, just put Andrea Bocelli in charge of VAR and be done with it. Well, somebody did Photoshop Stevie Wonder into the VAR room earlier today, which I found quite funny. Sai says, it's match fixing, corruption at its worst. The cartel are scared of losing their European places. Yeah, I believe that. I've thought that for a long time now, to be honest. Bullerboy says that would be called advantage to no penalty plus ref never even blew and Baldy wouldn't have either. Too quick. Back to Wise after the event. Hi guys, in rugby the ref asks or given all angles to help with his decision. Yep. Why isn't it happening in football? Stu says the Premier League. Yeah, the Premier League must use every tool at their fingertips to protect the cartel. They don't want another Leicester City situation.
The referees, when they go to the screen, must say, have you got any more angles? So I can make an informed decision.
Well, I think you're right. What you said at the weekend, Billy, that the inexperienced referee on the pitch was bossed by a supposed experienced Lee Mason, and it was
bullied, absolutely. But I mean, that should be a protocol now. From now on, the referees that go to the screen must ask for every possible angle. Otherwise, he's not going to change his decision.
Yeah, Clive says if Vieira had said yes, it looked like a push, but I've got to go with the final decision. That would have helped immensely to clear this up. I really hope VAR comes back to bite him. I mean, he could have just said, I've seen it, there was a push there, and maybe just say, I think we've got away with one. Just be honest. Instead
he
of
doesn't gain anything from lying. I don't understand why he did that. He doesn't gain anything. He doesn't gain reputation. He doesn't defend a player. He gains nothing from it except hurting his credibility to neutral fans and to us.
Paul makes a good point. Bring VAR officials in from Europe. It works spot on over there. Yeah, learn our guys how to do it properly. It's the only way it would get any better is by education to these guys.
It works better in Poland than it does in the Premier League.
Yeah, but the problem is with the Premier League referees, they think they're above everybody else. We know that most of these Premier League referees have chips on the shoulder and they think they're above the law. Look at Mike Dean last year. Well, Mike Dean across his career, an absolute monumental bell end. It was all about him. If the fans weren't shouting about him, he would make sure that he did something in the game to become the center of attention. Jack Norter, thank you for your $10 New Zealand. Super chat. He says the VAR had all angles in a warm booth, away from pressure of fans, and can't see the obvious push. He has to be genuine idiot, or it's corruption. Well, I mean, yeah.
Talking of referees, have you seen the referee in this middle of the Sunderland game?
No, I've got it on.
He's got an Alice band on.
Billy, we live in a world of multicultural people, and if that referee on Saturday had an Alice band on, he still give the goal. I wouldn't give a shit about his Alice band, to be quite fair.
It's got white to say going. It's greyer than, I don't know, the invisible Man United strip. He's got an Alice band on. Fair play to him for doing it, but
well, if he's got the hair to do it, pull it off. Do it.
Nearly too.
Right, I've got some screenshots here, and I've taken these from the official websites. The first one is offside position. So I'd just like to quickly read through this and get your thoughts. It is not an offence to be in an offside position. A player is in an offside position if any part of the head, body, or feet is in the opponent's half, excluding the halfway line, and any part of the head, body, or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. The hands and arms of all players, including the goalkeepers, are not considered. For the purposes of determining offside, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. A player is not in an offside position if level with the second last opponent or last two opponents. Offside offence, a player is in an offside position at the moment the ball is played or touched by a teammate, is only penalised on becoming involved in active play by interfering with play, by playing or touching a ball passed or touched by a teammate, or interfering with an opponent, by preventing an opponent from playing, or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision, or challenging an opponent for the ball, or clearly attempting to play a ball which is close when this action impacts on an opponent, or making an obvious action which clearly impacts the ability of an opponent to play the ball, or gaining an advantage by playing the ball, or interfering with an opponent when it has rebounded or deflected off the goalpost, crossbar, an opponent, or been deliberately saved by the opponent. Now, is that not just making, when you look through that, is that not just making the whole bloody offside extremely complicated? Why not just say, if there's fresh air, if there's a gap between the players, he's offside, and leave it at that, Alex?
I disagree. I think that description's fine, and they just can't. They're just idiots. I don't think that's that hard to implement. We all agree that Willock was pushed into the goalkeeper. Well, that's not an offside, but it's not an issue. It's not an issue with offside specifically, with his lines drawn. I mean that specifically stated the underside of the armpit, so effectively your shoulder, because you can play the ball, which I don't know, I think you can shoulder it, but it says underside of armpit, which is what on camera's ear. Yeah. So it's surely the technology is good enough to be able to determine that. We need sensors within the stadium. We should have the most developed stadiums in the country if they're going to be part of the Premier League. Have some sensors.
I agree with
that.
Totally.
Have some sensors up and down the sides, and just make it really, really obvious. Just make it 100% accurate, because it would be if it was with proper technology.
I'm not sure from the sides of the idea. I think they should do it from above. I think there should be a drone or
potentially above. Yeah, there are ways they could get it 100% accurate, not 99. They could get it 100.
They never get the right angle, do they? They never get the right angle. You never see a straight line.
Because based on that criteria, it's not that hard. They could have sensors in the ball.
I think what they're trying to do is they're looking at their immediate actions are to try and rule the goal out. I'm genuinely convinced of that. They generally look for an offside to say, right, no goal. Well, for us, I firmly believe that. Clarky says Uriah Rennie. He wasn't the best, to be honest. Jeanette says, hi again. Thank you for your £5, Jeanette. Again, off the subject of football, Paul, my husband wants to know, do you have to watch the Vampire Diaries first before the originals, and is it scary? Well, the Vampire Diaries is probably more for teens, etc. Originals was a bit more darker, so I don't think it would matter if you watch the Vampire Diaries first. I think you'd still enjoy the originals, but there you go. Live Rise Entertainment, thank you for your $10 Canadian. Here's a solution for VAR. We replay the match, but start at the exact time the incident occurred. So we would be awarded the goal, and the game would resume at 51 minutes is when the goal went in. It's a long way for Palace to travel for.
You can't do that though, because games depend on fitness and tiredness.
Yeah, it's a long way to travel to do that. Geordie Metal, thank you for your £20 super chat. Fantastic, donated to the channel. Was it the women's game yesterday? And Amanda said in an interview they have taken steps about VAR and have got in touch with the appropriate people, whoever they are. Yeah, there's been various complaints going in. By the way, shout out to Eddie. Absolutely brilliant grabbing Amanda for an interview yesterday on Tyneside Live. He loved it in his little reporter's Illumina's jacket there. So well done, Eddie. It was a great video, actually. So congratulations, buddy. Vortex says, George Courtney, head of Rosa Street School, Spennymoor, coached and refed me in junior football. What a man he was. Yes, and my mother worked for him. My mum worked as a teacher at that very school for Mr. Courtney.
It's funny how the best refs come from that neck of the woods. George Courtney, Pat Partridge.
She speaks very highly of him. Said he was a lovely man. And he seemed to have. He was one of those referees that seemed to have the respect of the players. Although I think back then, I think the referees had a lot more respect than they do these days. To be honest, I think that player power and all that taken over. First thing is to kick Mike Dean and Lee Mason upstairs. So they cannot influence matches anymore.
Kick them down the stairs, it'd be better.
Well, indeed.
Yeah, I don't know why we can't just let them go. Why do they have to be retained when they're making so many errors?
Absolutely. Just get them off to the BT studios and they'll be pundits. Up the A1 says scrap it all together. Allow referees to be accountable and make decisions as they see fit. Let independent panel judge after the game and deduct or add points if needed. I don't think it would ever come to deduction and addition of points. It would cause too many problems. But I do believe, I just, for as much as we wanted VAR, I think it's causing more problems than it is good at the minute. Spike Milligan, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. He's left a comment saying HMTL.
HMT.
Anybody know what that means?
How far is M from the W? No, it can't be. So I'd both away the lads.
Yes. Ryan says there needs to be linesmen at the end of each pitch, like the Champions League. Stu says urinal ready, more like. Indeed. Hey, you'd be impressed with this, Alex. I've done my homework today, He's another one. This is more like for VAR. So, what is VAR? What will VAR review? It will review a goal or no goal, a penalty, no penalty, a direct red card, not a second yellow card or a caution, mistaken identity when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. What will it not review? Any yellow card or any free kick offence outside the box unless a red card offence or if it leads to a goal or a penalty. Is VAR aiming for 100% accuracy? The fact that some decisions are subjective means that 100% accuracy is impossible. However, the accuracy can be improved to remove most clear errors. How does VAR work? So who is in the VAR room? In the Premier League, there is a lead official who will make judgments on all reviews. There will also be an assistant official who continues to watch the live game while the lead handles a review. The third person is the Hawkeye operative who controls the technology and is independent of the decision-making process. When does the VAR check an incident? Every moment is watched for an infringement or missed incident, and all goals are checked. What is the difference between a check and a review? So a check, the VAR watches the replay of an incident before allowing play to continue. Most checks are completed so quickly that players and fans are not aware they've happened. Really? A review is the referee might delay the restart of play, signaled by placing his finger to his ear while the VAR investigates a possible offence. If the VAR believes an incorrect decision has been made by the referee on a subjective incident, the referee will watch the incident on a pitchside monitor to confirm that he will change his decision. Now, that's very interesting. That says there that they will go to the pitchside monitor to confirm that he'll change his decision. So that's basically, in my opinion, saying if he's going to the monitor, he's going to change his mind. A review will only be instigated by VAR if he believes the decision is wrong. So, Lee Mason thought the decision to give a goal on Saturday was wrong. However, he still did not give the the right camera angle. But Billy, what do you make of that? Where it says there about the pitch side monitor to confirm that he will change his decision, because Michael Oliver didn't.
No, exactly. Obviously, the year Michael Oliver saw confirmed that he was right and the man in the box was wrong. And I think there should be more of that. I think at the end of the day, the final decision should be with the referee on the pitch. And I think Michael Oliver's the only person to kind of say, no, I was right. I'm sticking with what I said in the first place. But, I mean, if these referees weren't good enough to referee last year and the year before, which Lee Mason wasn't, Mike Dean certainly wasn't on the pitch, why are they going to suddenly become, masters of refereeing rules and laws when they're sitting in front of a TV?
Yeah,
the wrong people are watching these pictures, and that's all it is to it, really.
Yeah. The final one says clear and obvious. Okay, so what does clear and obvious mean? If the VAR believes the referee has obviously misjudged an incident, meaning it did not happen how the referee describes, this is grounds for a review and for the decision to be overturned. Why even bother with clear and obvious? For all its flaws, this will always exist in some form. Call it something else if you wish, but it has to have a threshold for the VAR to intervene, even if you are reducing it right down to the subjectivity of the VAR himself. Can't we just get all decisions correct? That sounds great, doesn't it? The problem is these decisions are subjective, meaning even referees themselves will disagree on the correct call in many instances. What is a foul to one person isn't to another, and that is certainly the case when fans are watching their own team. So just let the VAR change the decision if it's wrong. Again, the opinion of the VAR may not be the same as yours, and of course, the match referee. We saw in the 2019-20 season, when pitch-side monitors weren't being used, how little trust there was in the process from players, managers, and supporters. The feeling is that VAR is making the big decisions alone, then the game is being re-refereed. Why doesn't the referee use the monitor more often? One of the regular comments from managers and pundits is that the referee should go and have another look at the monitor to check his decision. But this is not what the monitor is for. It is only used when the referee has made a clear and obvious error. Ergo, the VAR has told him the decision is wrong, and referee uses the monitor to confirm the decision will be changed. The monitor quite simply isn't for the referee to check his decision, it's to change it. So again, Michael Oliver went to the monitor and did not change the decision. So even their own rule book is wrong, Alex.
Right, well, that's all nonsense. That's nonsense, because you can go and have a look at the Palace goal, and he does not award us the goal and go back to the halfway line and go to resume play and then get checked. When that goes in the net, it's straight to it's straight in the ear. Players are crowding. It's immediately being checked. So their definition of that, their wording of that, is 100% wrong. They've said the VAR is used if they think the referee's made a clear and obvious error. The referee hadn't even made a bloody decision by the time they were down his ear after that Willock goal. Absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that some decisions are subjective, well, change it. There are certain things in the game that don't have to be that subjective. There are this whole ridiculous criteria of how long is a shirt pull before it's a foul. They need to reduce it. Obviously, with things like malicious intention and trying to hurt players, you can't get rid of that subjectivity. That's fine. But in terms of offsides and high boots and studs, you can 100% reduce most of the subjectivity. It can be black and white very, very clearly. You can get rid of most of it. And the way that they're trying to basically cover their own backs here. And they put most checks happen so quickly that fans and players don't know it's happening. Absolutely nonsense. Don't try and lie to us, because we're watching these screens when the referee wanders, takes 10 paces backwards, hand on ear, like a bloody Secret Service agent. Players crowding or players go away, hand on ear. We know when it's happening. We're not stupid, because the broadcasters inform of it as well. So I'd say there's 4, 5, 6 bullet points in there that is absolute just horseshit. It's just nonsense.
Here's a 7.
And Howard Webb cannot get here any quicker, because it is a joke.
Here's a
But
7.
that's the thing. They're not
Here's a
even.
7.
Sorry,
Clear and
Billy?
obvious. Clear and obvious to me is also subjective.
Yeah.
But as we saw yesterday, the Man United Arsenal game, the Arsenal goal to me, that was not a clear and obvious foul, error, because we've been told that leniency is part of the game these days. Collisions will be overlooked. We've seen it in many occasions. The only time they've changed it is when a goal results from it. To me, that wasn't a clear and obvious error.
I just find the whole thing astounding. I genuinely do, because when I'm reading that out, I'm thinking, well, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. They're going against what they're actually saying their own rules. I mean,
and when they take 4 minutes to decide a clear and obvious error, how's that clear and obvious?
Well, it isn't. It simply isn't an obvious error. If it's taken that long, then what they're doing is they're going to the arse end of a monkey's arse to try and get the goal disallowed. They're not just looking at it and saying, oh, you could decide in literally 10, 15 seconds, looking at that saying, that's too close to call. We've got to go in for it. It's not clear and obvious. Therefore, whatever the decision on the pitch is, we stand by it. Simple as that.
I think my commentary Saturday summed it up. I said when the goal went in, they will find an excuse to disallow this goal, and I was right.
Well, you always think that instantly, Billy. As soon as a scrappy goal is scored, you think, right, they're going to do the best. So it's crazy. Rich says the commentators get all the angles, so why not get them involved? It doesn't just have to be Sky. All the games have commentary these days. I'm a big fan of snooker, and they do that. Well,
good idea. But you've got to have unbiased commentators, haven't you?
Which we certainly don't get. Geordie Howeman says, another thing I don't get is a player shepherding the ball out for a goal kick, sometimes 3 to 4 yards from the line, then blocking the opposition player anywhere else on the pitch. It's a free kick.
Obstruction all day, every day.
Yeah,
the difference between shielding and body blocking, one is a foul and one isn't. And half of those shepherding for goal kicks are very, they're not what they're meant to be.
Next to not.
Clearly. Evening, gents. Been robbed by VAR like we were, as he says, Will the Hammer, indeed. Paul Tully says you can almost see that there will be no need for VAR on Sunday. Johnny Ola, I bet Newcastle every week these VAR decisions are robbing people who bet as well. I know gambling is a sin. But it ruins a lot of industries, to be honest. It's mental. I remember a few years ago that a goal was given in a Leverkusen game, but was found out to have gone through the side netting. The Bundesliga decided to replay the game from when the goal was scored. I remember that. Good decision. Yep. But if Lee Mason is sat there and has 1 to 2 fellow officials to correct him, well,
if he listens, just sack him. Just get rid.
He clearly isn't. That's the thing.
We've got a Premier League ref now. We've got a Premier League ref now who allowed a goal that didn't go in. The lad from the Neen, I can't think what his name is. But he allowed a goal that didn't go in the net a few years back.
Yeah. Mrs. Toon Review in the house. Good evening, Susan. So many refs from Manchester and Liverpool. I saw an image of where Premier refs are based, and scary amount of Manchester, Liverpool. They are actually, yes. Funny how all the crying and bitching from Neville and Man U fans has stopped since 4 wins on the spin.
This is their first win when they haven't cheated to get the points. So, well done to them. They can win a game without cheating.
I mean, listen, I thought Arsenal played really well yesterday. I really enjoyed the way Arsenal played. But I think Arteta made a balls up when he made the 3 subs with 20 minutes to go. I thought Arsenal was still very much in the game.
He's definitely got Guardiola syndrome, hasn't he? When he gets a big game, when he's a bit stressed and under pressure in a big tough game, he gets certain things tactically a bit dodgy, doesn't he?
He panics. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Ab says the ref on the pitch was not shown the wrong angle. You could clearly see the push on the clips he saw. He was spineless. If Eddie and David Moyes could agree that the first clear cock, or both teams and managers walk off the pitch until it's corrected. But again, you're opening a whole can of worms there to getting disciplined in the wrong way.
This is perfect timing for them, isn't it? Because at the moment, West Ham and us are united as 2 fan bases. We're united in this controversy. And funnily enough, we've got to play each other this weekend coming. So, and we're obviously going to be at each other's throats because we want 3 points. So we are going to, if we think there's close calls and 50-50s, we're going to argue with each other about it. And it's exactly what they want, because we're not going to be divided after the weekend. Unless it's a really clean game, we'll probably not be as united as we are right now. and it's exactly what they want because it's going to help blow everything over, and it's just annoying.
Guys, if you are enjoying the show tonight, please do hit that like button. And if you're new and you like what you see, please do hit that subscribe button. It means the world. We are on the way now to 15K. We keep building. So please do hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we do upload or we go live. And if you'd like to get your Toon Review merch, you can find it right here.
So let's get down to business.
I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it.
Let's get down to business.
So there you go, guys. The toonreview.co.uk, your place to go for your merch. I've just seen somebody say that they've got a necklace with Klopp's front tooth hanging from it. And then and then a reply saying, how do you get away with wearing an offensive weapon in public? Interesting. Ian from Toon Trail, I'm a bit late today. What have I missed apart from the refs at tosses and cheats? Well, basically that. Did anyone see Dermot Gallagher? Yes, unfortunately. Exactly, Billy, and that's the part. Respect. That's missing in football. Indeed. Right, Alex, you've got some bump fun there. So, Mr. Howard Webb.
Yeah, so it's just from the athletic article about him, what he's going to be. So he retired from refereeing in 2017, and he joined the MLS Professional Referee Organization as a manager of video assistant referee operations. And then he changed and accepted a position as general manager of Professional Referee Organization. But he's coming back to us so we have a role within the Premier League at the PGMOL. And Mike Riley will step down. And then there's quotes from Mike Riley that I'm not going to read because I don't want to. And then Howard Webb specifically says in his first quotes from the article is, I'm looking forward to returning to England and starting this new challenge when I have fulfilled my contract with Pro. It's an excellent opportunity for me. So it's all this first part of the article is lovely. And then he finishes the quote with, I'm very proud of what has been achieved during my tenure here. I aim to have a similar impact with the PGMOL using the Elite Referee Development Plan as a real driving force. So that's all positive. And then he finishes off very poorly. I don't like this bit. I know I will be inheriting a strong foundation laid by a lot of good work over a number of years. It's about maintaining these standards and then enhancing them to grow and positively impact the game in England. Well, I hope he doesn't maintain the current level because it's absolutely atrocious. But still positive stuff from him. So he's obviously, so for people who don't know, he's been in the MLS, he's been doing things, he's been doing stuff with video assistant stuff, and then he's been the main guy. So he is going to come back and be one of the two big sort of bosses. I doubt he'll be in the role of the development. I think he'll probably be the main guy. So we'll likely have whoever this development person is, we'll have another name pop up soon as well. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, unless obviously these controversies change it.
Yeah, just got a few super chats in. £4.49 just come in, and it's just gone right off the screen. So I can't see who sent it, but it said horseshit superb. So just from my comment earlier on, I'll find out who that was shortly. Bullerboy 22.
I think I said horseshit. That's why. So I don't swear very often.
Bullerboy 22, £5 super chat. Thank you, Paul, Alex, Billy. You were stars. I love this show, and my go-to to get the proper crack. Well done, guys. Thanks very much. And Crab People 3. Sorry?
Mark Armstrong was the first one with the horseshit.
Yes, Mark Armstrong. Thank you very much, Mark. Crab People 365. Thank you for your £5. He says, why not adopt the cricket system for VAR? All fans can see all the angles and what has been said. Decision out on the public, no bias. You know, that's the thing, though, Billy. That works in cricket, doesn't it? You know, you can hear what's been said between the umpire and the third umpire watching the review, and all fans can see the angles as well. Why can't football be like that?
In cricket, of course, it's not subjective. It's actual things that happen. They've got the technology to kind of decipher what's going on, whether it's an edge catch or an LBW. But the man in charge of the technology is asked for specific information, which is given to him usually within 30 seconds, and then they make the right decision. It's not hard, and we've got technology to use in football for the same thing. I mean, even a Hawkeye kind of thing for offsides, and tennis use it. So why aren't football using the same kind of technology? It's there available.
Absolutely. Richard Newland says, as a Bournemouth fan, it was nice having 2 years without VAR. Although we've not had too much trouble with it yet, other than a harsh penalty from Kelly's handball. I feel for Newcastle as they've had a bad run with it. Nice of an opposition fan to say that. Dat Warlord says, it's sad that Mike Ashley held the club down, and now that the beast was slayed, the trolls have come out to mess us about. When will it stop? Matthew says, I think some of these refs have bigger egos than the players. Look at Mike Dean, for example, the biggest prima donna in football. Paul says, you can't show images. You need to watch the player. Images are always worst. So you can't base decisions on that. Come on, guys. You're having a laugh there. Well, no, I mean, look.
I've seen all of those specifically multiple times. We're putting them as stills for the benefit of the viewers because we're not allowed to show that. So I'm not having that comment, mate. That's ridiculous. Of course, we've seen them many times. Yeah,
we can't play them because we get copyrighted by the Premier League, and but we can show stills. But listen, I know what you're getting at. You have to watch. To get a proper decision, you have to watch the replays, which the VAR referees get access to. So there is no excuse. There is literally no excuse. It's just wrong in every single way. Hey, I hope you're well. Need to go to watch last night's show. I didn't have it in me yesterday. I was still too angry. We'll catch up later. Need to have an independent adjudicator. Need to have at least one fan on the panel to keep them honest. Chipper says, can I also ask why the ref on Saturday was only in charge of his 7th game? Surely we need a more experienced ref who won't be influenced by the VAR officials. Well, you're going to get that, Chippers. We've got to bring new referees in at some point. You're going to get the inexperienced ones. But Billy's right. He shouldn't be influenced by a more experienced referee, i.e. Lee Mason. Lee Mason should just say to him, look at the screen, what do you think? And and as far as the referee's concerned, he gave the original goal. He has no reason to change that. All forgotten. But it doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that, which is a shame. V says the whole evens itself out, or it went our way this time, just makes excuses for poor decisions. Need to root out the problem, not bury it. When people say, it evens itself out over a season, no, it doesn't, because those points have gone. Simple as that.
Yeah, we've lost. Generally, that can happen, but we've lost a lot already. That's a lot to make up.
9 points is a lot to make up, Alex, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, if we get the odd penalty given our way that's a bit dodgy, that's still not going to guarantee us the 9 points we could hypothetically have had. Yeah.
Crazy. Liam says the commentators seem to get more of these decisions right. Maybe they should listen to the commentary on the replays. Not a bad shout.
Because they both see 4 or 5 angles and then they chat to each other. Oh, what do you think, Jeff? Or what do you think, so and so? And they have a little chat and they try and work it out. And it generally seems to be a lot more accurate than what the refs decide.
Absolutely. Pickford got booked for the challenge on Van Dijk last year, even though he was offside and offside given. I know I've got an idea. Let's make the rules as complicated as we can. It seems to be the case. No adjudicator in football is independent. Fan involvement wouldn't work. I thought this was being looked at by the FA. Yeah, it is being looked at, but nothing is going to change, i.e. the results that have already gone. But this is, and I said this on last night's show, that they are always reactive and never proactive. So they react to it at the time and say, oh, we'll launch a report or whatever it is they want to do. But it's all too late because we can't get them points back now. And neither can, West Ham have lost out on a point. And if West Ham lose out, getting into Europe by a point, that is going to come back and bite them on the arse, that ridiculous decision. Same with us. If we lose out by 3 points or 2 points or whatever it may be at the end of the season, we will look back on that decision against Palace and think, right, we should have won that game. And that 3 points has cost us European football, which is a huge price to pay. But they don't think of this kind of thing. They're just idiots. Keith says, I cannot stand all this fakery that goes on in the game these days. Players that fake injuries should be booked and fined, end of, and get back to actually playing the game.
I wouldn't book them. I'd send them. I'd give them 10 minutes in the sin bin. Seriously, get off the pitch.
The sin bins have been spoken about before, haven't Try spelling the National League. No VAR, no goal line technology, just terrible refs. Yeah, I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Or the broadcaster's reply should be used. When the cartel had their secret meeting, it makes you wonder what was discussed. Toon says, Ian says, agreed, chippers. We will never get any decent refs as there aren't enough around. I did hear a report on the radio at some point today, and it was talking about the referees and the finding it very difficult to bring refs through from grassroots to the higher level because of the abuse they're getting. A lot of them decide it's not for them and pull out of the game altogether because of the abuse. Now, that is one thing that obviously they will have to look at because, you know, we've heard this many, many times before, even at school level. You know, the parents on the sidelines giving the refs absolute hell, which isn't right. It's just not right at all. So, you know, they do have to go back and look at that, Billy, don't they? That is one stage where they have to sort of try and get these referees through, and good ones at that.
Yeah, but it's never going to happen. You're always going to get that abuse because otherwise you just have to ban people from watching the game, aren't you? I mean, I'll never forget an instance I had years ago. I was managing a team getting a cup game in Bedworth, just up the road here, who never had a ref each week. Somehow they used to manipulate it so the ref wouldn't turn up or whatever. And one of their men would do it and be as biased as he possibly could be. And they wouldn't be for ages and ages and ages. So this specifically, we drew them in the cup and I ref the game. I sent two of theirs off. I did give them a penalty, but I gave ours a penalty as well. You know, and they were going mental. I didn't do anything biased. It was, there was some terrible tackles going on. But the abuse you get from the sidelines, and it's no wonder that they don't get paid for it on a Sunday morning. Then you get like expenses and whatever. Why would you do it? Why would you do it?
Well, you know, I'll go back to when I played ice hockey as well, Billy. The referees there. I mean, the referees used to take crap in the crowd at any level, right? But you know, when you're on the ice and you're skating around, it doesn't matter. But if we as players, even at a very, very young age, we started giving jip to the referees, you would be sent off for a misconduct, 10 minutes in the penalty box, or even a game misconduct for abuse of an official. You were sent off. It was as simple as that. No, you know, as soon as they used to clamp the hands on the hips, and that meant a misconduct penalty, you were gone. And I genuinely think that they have to clamp down on the way players go on with the referees. That, you know, that's a separate entity altogether, because we're talking about bringing more referees and good referees into the game, but it's not available at the minute. But they need to stamp down on the crowding around the officials and all that. Like Man United did it again yesterday. It reminded me of the old Roy Keane days when, you know, half of the team used to crowd the referee to try and influence a decision. Will the Hammer says, if it's any consolation, the West Ham United YouTube channels are going bonkers about VAR also. Looking forward to the match with you guys. Will, if you know any West Ham YouTube channel that might want to come on our show on Thursday night for the preview show, let me know, man, because, you know, we'd love to get a West Ham fan on as well to give their side, and obviously we'd have a discussion about VAR as well during the show. Ian says, all Premier League clubs need to write a demand letter to the Premier League. Yeah, well, the Big Six want to be the 14.
Exactly.
Tangy says, Leeds manager gets sent off for complaining. So in a way, I think Howe is keeping his calm, but something might change Howe's mind one day if this bullshit goes on anymore. Well, there's only so much we can take, Alex.
Yeah, I want to swing back around to the point you were saying with Billy, because I wanted to take that about how about we don't have the refs at grassroots level.
Yeah,
I think we do. I think we can have women officials. I think there's with players. 100%. I understand there's a biological and physicality difference between men and women, and I understand that's why we play in separate leagues. But for officiating, there shouldn't be any issue. That there are women who have been reffing games and in leagues to a high standard for 10, 20 years. There's got to be a lot around. I watched when we were tracking Ekitike in the summer, and I watched the Toulon tournament, and I watched like 7 or 8 games. They were all using women officials for that. I'm not sure why they were doing it, but all the match officials were women for the whole Toulon tournament, and it was fine. I mean, some of them were letting quite a lot go, but it was all right. It wasn't that bad. I don't understand why we can't look into foreign leagues, foreign countries, and potentially just try and promote promote some women up through the leagues and just give it a try, because it can't be any worse. And as for how, I'm unsure. I don't know about that. I'm a bit perplexed by his calmness as well. I don't know how he does it. I really do. I mean, even in real time, it's Tyndall that gets angry, and how sort of generally lets things go. He's a strange man. I don't know how he keeps his cool so much, because these are the emotional control he must have. I've never seen anything like it in anybody.
Yeah.
I've never seen a manager be able to control themselves, because we've had some really crazy situations. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, we have.
It's a little bit weird.
We once had Sean Massey referee us on a Sunday morning and cancel a game because we had a black away kit because it clashed with her referee's top, despite her having a green referee's top as well. She wouldn't change into it. Just cancelled the game. And we'd wore the black kit on previous occasions. Well,
listen, I've seen some female officials in Brazil. I've seen them in some very good ones, and there's no reason. There isn't any reason why they can't have female officials. I mean, there was a female official running the line on Saturday. So why can't the referee? It doesn't. Just because they're women, like you say, Alex, you can understand why they don't play football together, because of the biological difference. Well. Yeah, exactly. But there's no reason why they can't referee the game. Paul says German Bundesliga VAR works well, and I do not hear any controversy there, Paul. I watch a lot of the German football, and it's so swift. If there's a VAR incident, poof, gone, dealt with. And what gets me about VAR over there is, if a VAR decision is made, the players just get on with it. They don't go and hassle the referee anymore, saying, "Oh, why was that made?" A decision is made very quickly, and they get on with the game. It's as simple as that. And I just think it seems to be a mindset over here that there has to be all this controversy over it, and there has to be, a clear and obvious should not take 5 minutes. It just shouldn't. C-Stock says the refs make loads of money each season. I'm sure they're also getting kickbacks from the top six. It's bloody obvious. Andrew says you are right, Billy, and he looks crap. I'm not sure who he's talking about there. On the flip side, Palace fans enjoyed VAR this weekend. On the flip side, they will soon get one against them. Yeah, when they come against the bigger teams, without a doubt. VAR is horrendous, no doubt about it. But if we can't take our chances, then we are up against it. No one is going to do us any favours, so we must soldier on. I mean, Richie's got a point. We mentioned that in the review show last night that, yes, we had that goal disallowed, but we also had a lot of chances to score, and we didn't put our chances away.
There's a Twitter page called The Other 14 who does data every weekend about the other 14 who aren't in the Big Six, and we actually topped the other 14 this week for touches in the attacking penalty area. So we had 56 touches in the attacking penalty area, which was the most out of the other 14 clubs. We also had 20 shots inside their box with an XG of 2.8. So as much as I'm frustrated we didn't get that goal, we've got to start scoring some of our own chances as well.
Stephen says, can your shadow be offside? Well, it seems to be the case. It's mental. It really is. Wacky says, last season, someone got judged offside because his hand was in an offside position while he was pointing to where he wanted to pass. Yeah, I remember that one. And I also remember Callum Wilson's at Aston Villa when he seemed to have, his foot seemed to double in. I don't know if you guys can remember, but when the showed us still for the offside, he looked like he'd gone from a size 8 to a size 28 in shoe. It looked ridiculous because of where the size of Callum Wilson, Billy, and the size of his foot. Yeah,
the keeper brought him down, didn't he? For a blatant penalty, red card.
Yeah.
But they went back for the offside. This was the week after Bruno Fernandes was further offside and was allowed to carry on and score. So, again, it's just one rule for one and one for the other. But, yeah, that was a shocking decision. Shocking decision.
Never going to change. Anthony says, spot on, Paul. They look for a reason to chalk goals off. And do. Mods, please ensure people read comments correctly without asserting incorrect statements. Not your fault, but people need to actually read comments. Paul, sometimes it's difficult, mate. I know where you're coming from, though, but let's just all be friends. Ab says you can't measure the exact point the pass was made, therefore it should be daylight. I 100% agree with that.
Great point. Yeah, great point.
100%.
You can't say when the ball's been kicked.
Right, so just before we finish then, I'll put it to you both. Billy first. How does this improve? What would you do if you were Howard Webb going into Christmas And Alex, I'll ask you the same question in a second. If you were Howard Webb, Billy, going into Christmas, what would you do?
If I was Howard Webb Christmas, I'd go cap in hand to the likes of Keith Hackett, Mark Clattenburg, Graham Poll, David Ellery, that kind of referee from that era. And I'd say, please come and help us. We know you can't run around the pitch anymore, but you can certainly look at cameras and get the right decisions with technology. So that'd be the first point. My first point of action would be to do that. Get the experienced old referees in charge. Referees that have represented us at World Cups and European Championships and Champions Leagues finals. Get them involved and let's get it proper. And let's get them coaching the refs at the same time. Pay them a good wage. Get them back in.
Yeah, good shout. Sean was saying, Roy was saying earlier on John's show that they're going to use robot cameras instead of linesmen in this year's World Cup. No, I don't think they're replacing linesmen. I think they will also have robot cameras there to work with VAR. They're not getting rid of the linesmen completely, but it's something that they are trying to test out and see what the result of that was. Robot cameras for offsides. Again, Alex, this is something you were on about before. It's something that they can look at to try and improve the decisions.
I don't agree with the camera thing. I think it should be sensors. There's no reason why we can't have sensors that can just detect where people are on the pitch.
They already use it, don't they, for data for fitness
or from the aerial views as well. Could do much of the same. It doesn't have to be. I guess that would be a camera, but it's just more about. Because then what's going to happen? Are the people going to view the footage of the robot linesman camera and make a subjective decision? I would prefer that there was just a scientific way of determining on or off. And we need to pick a lane. We either need to go, benefit of the doubt with the attacker. If it's close, it's on. We need to make it sort of general. Or we need to go 100% science. It's either on or it's off with proper tracked sensors, cameras. We need to pick a lane because at the moment we're in both and it's not working.
Yeah. So I'll put to you, Alex, same question as Billy. If you were Howard Webb and you've seen what you've seen so far this season, without taking into account what Howard Webb's already said in his statement, but if you were him and you'd seen what's been going on so far this season, what would you do?
Right, well, they can't change the rules mid-season, unfortunately. But I would do the same. I would try and cry for help and bring in some really, really experienced top-level people to come and help in an administrative way or in a camera room or in ways that they are still capable of. And we need it sorting out at grassroots level. This is ridiculous. We're being bullied internationally and European in terms of we just got no representation. Nobody trusts our referees. It's a joke. So grassroots needs a look at whether it's Sunday League, all the lower tiers, National League North, South, National League, all the way up the football pyramid. We need a good 20, 30, 40 extra referees in each league. Pay them more money. Stop paying Premier League referees 100, 150,000 a year. Pay them a bit less than that. Spread the stop taking bonuses. Spread the money around into grassroots. Get some females in as well. And try and get a larger pool of referees that can work their way up the football pyramid and gain experience so that in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, we've got a lot of competent officials that will have been trained in rotation of all of it. They can do the linesman, they can do the camera officiating. So I think we need... It's great fixing it now. And then at the end of the season, we need to have a complete review because what we just read out then, what you put on screen was absolute nonsense, half of it. It doesn't seem to get implemented in the way that it was being read. But grassroots, I feel, is for the future of it. We need it. It's not healthy. We need it addressing at a grassroots level. So yeah.
Can I add as well? I would also cut down on. I would also make a stricter punishment for play acting because not only they're trying to play act and con referees on the pitch, they're also trying to con the VAR refs now. For starters, I'd give Edward Mendy a 3-game ban for his play acting on Saturday.
Yeah,
seriously. It's got to.
I agree, Billy. I'm 100%. I mean, these players who play act and look. I'm not saying Newcastle United are not guilty of that as well. We have a couple of players who like to feign injury. I think it just has to be out of the game.
Sorry, Paul.
No, go
But
on.
beyond the Premier League as well, I don't think this is just a Premier League issue. Well, this specifically is 90% a Premier League issue. But I think instead of having people like Arsene Wenger come out and propose sort of a World Cup every 2 years and all this nonsense, we need internationally and within the larger organizations, we need people to have more in-depth and larger discussions about should we have the sin bin? Should we change it to minutes the ball's in play? No, we need to have more conversations about how football is actually played, because it's addressed occasionally. And instead of putting all their efforts into corrupt World Cup bids, which Russia should never have gotten that World Cup. That was our World Cup. That was stolen from us. Half of the people that voted in that are in prison. So they are. That's not even like fake. They are in prison.
100%. All paid off by Abramovich.
We need at an international level. We just need the health of football is just not where it's at, and specifically where it's just really suffering in our country. It does seem to be quite good on the continent, but for this expensive brand, it is bloody awful. We're not having stunning goals and amazing games. We're just having controversy and drama. It's not a soap opera.
Right. Well, to sum it up, one word answer: yes or no. Billy, will VAR be good for the game in the future?
Yes.
Alex?
I can't give you one word answer on that.
They're going to sort it out eventually, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Could be, yeah.
Not.
Well, you think, Billy, but it's been going a while now and they still can't sort it out.
The way we've talked about it tonight, yeah, it could be if they improve the technology and they stop all of this subjective nonsense and they try and make it proper, clear cut. I think for the rest of the season they should just bin it off. I think this season they should just sack it all off.
Yeah,
just say,
I do as well.
We can't do it right.
Yeah.
We're going to sack it off, or at least until maybe after the World Cup. They should just go, we haven't got the officials, we haven't got the staff. Mike Dean's been taken off duty. Lee Mason's been taken off duty. All of their most senior referees are all being taken off duty. They might as well just pack it in and just not use it. They can use goal line technology, but just sack VAR off until January. And when Howard Webb comes in, and then make a fresh decision and see what they want to do.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that. I don't think you can have a competition where half the season's using one set of rules and the half's using another set. I think they've just got to improve it. Get the
I
right
think it's
people
too far
in,
gone now.
job.
I would normally agree, but
yeah, I think for me, it's a long way gone. It's a long way gone. But look, we'll see what happens. But there you go, guys. That was an hour and a half's worth of discussing the VAR, what we can do about it. Is it ever going to be right? Is it ever going to be something that we can put our trust in? And it's got to be a case where fans can celebrate goals without having to wait for 3 or 4 minutes before re-celebrating the goal again. It's just wrong. There's a lot needs putting right with it, clearly. Or you could put us three in charge of it. I'm sure we'd have it up and running within days.
We'll be champion by the end of the year.
Well, I'll tell you something. Yeah. But I wouldn't be frightened to bollock a few people left, right, and centre. That's a certainty. So, and I don't think any of us would. So, because we've actually got balls to do things and actually carry out things. So, for these referees, they need to grow a pair. It needs to be better. And we'll see what happens with it. But thank you very much for tuning in tonight, guys. If you have enjoyed it, as usual, hit that like button. It does help us move up the YouTube search results. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos. The next live is tomorrow night. We have the fan forum with me and Billy Bob Coleman. So come and join us live on the show. Let us know live what you think of VAR, where we move forward. And of course, we'll be building up to the West Ham game as well. So until then, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. And me and Billy will see you for the fan forum tomorrow night at 8:30. Good night, guys.
Away the lads and lasses.